It's Luca and welcome back to the Transcending Thought Channel and podcast. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to shift your energy so you can begin living from a higher state. When you focus on raising your own inner state, your own vibrational frequency, some people call it, your own inner state of being, and you raise it to a higher level, your external world does start to change. I've seen it in my own life and many people have confirmed this as well. So once you begin focusing on shifting your inner world, I truly believe the external world will begin to manifest a better life for you, whatever that may look like for you, a better relationship, perhaps more money, whatever it may be. It's perhaps one of the most powerful tools I know and information that I know to begin transforming your life completely, internally and externally, and I'm going to show it to you right now. So 80%, 90% of all of this practice is awareness of what's not working. The moment you can become aware of what's not working that you're doing, that is when you can begin to heal yourself. Most people, for thousands of years, humans have been living with this delusional belief in their mind that negativity and resistance buys me what I want. If something presents itself to you that you don't want, that's not what you like it to be, and it arrives into your present moment, what happens is most likely you fight with it, you resist it, you hate it, you don't want it to be there, so you struggle with it. This can be external things or internal things. It might be not having enough money, it might be not having enough love in your life, it might be having a persistent state of internal fear or worry or grief or whatever it might be. The delusional belief that humans have had for many years, thousands of years, it's become embedded in our psyche, is that fighting with it, resisting it, does something. It gets rid of it. Now this is the delusion because it's not true. Actually, the opposite is true. These negative states of resistance, denial, fighting with, not wanting, grievances, frustrations, all of these inner states that you're filling yourself with create hell on earth. And they actually project themselves outwardly. I truly believe the external world is a projection of your inner state. You are consciousness. The external world is a projection of consciousness. So if you are projecting a negative state from your internal world, it will project itself outwardly and attract those things to you. Now, the first thing you need to realize, if there's anything in your life that you're not enjoying, not wanting, if you're wanting more things, if you're wanting more money, whatever it may be, you have to realize that what you're doing at the moment isn't working because most likely you are attached to the result. You're wanting something to be the way it is, which isn't the way it is now, and you're not happy here. You want to be over there. You're resisting where you are and you're wanting to be somewhere else. You have to realize that that is not working. It's only keeping you bound and constrained in form and draining you of power. What you need to realize, firstly, is that you actually do have a say in your internal world. You can begin to make a different choice. You can begin to bring in alternative states into your being through present moment awareness and mindful attention, which means awareness, which means just noticing what's going on, feeling what's going on in your body, observing what's going on in your thoughts, in your mind, and just watching it from a place of non-judgment in the present moment, becoming more conscious, more attentive to the now, finding presence, finding the present moment. A higher alertness can come in that can begin to see what you've been doing to yourself or what your unconscious mind has been doing to you, and through that seeing, you can offer a different perspective. So up until this point, you have probably been resisting and fighting with what presents itself to you. You've been filling your body unconsciously, not unknowingly. You've been filling your body with grievances and frustrations towards life and towards the world because the world isn't the way you want it to be. And there's a delusional belief in your mind that resisting it does something. That fighting with it, denying it, wanting to be somewhere else, will manipulate the world in some way. Now this is the delusion. Because if you can look at this chart here, as I've shown a few times before, I truly believe this is so profound because these are the different energy states depending on vibrational frequency. So if you're feeling these lower emotions of negativity and resistance and fighting with and grievances and frustrations and desires and wanting to be somewhere else, you are in a lower state of being, and that's what you're going to attract, things that match that energy. It's really true. You can feel it in yourself. When you're feeling desire, when you're feeling resistance, when you're feeling negativity, you can feel that it's not doing anything. You can feel that it's actually perpetuating the problem. You can feel it's actually making things worse or keeping things going that match that energy. And when you can feel that inner resistance within you, most people feel it in their chest, when you can feel that within you and observe what's going on as it's happening with your awareness, with your attention, you can begin to see, wow, I don't want to be filling myself with that. I'd much prefer to be filling myself with these higher states, operating from these higher states, and knowing that that's actually what's going to bring better things into my life. So just a practical example on this. Most people, when they desire a partner or more friends or more people around them, one little thing that can arise in the egoic mind is that neediness, wanting their approval, wanting them to like us, trying to make them like us, hoping that they like us, this energy, and you can feel it in yourself when you're doing it, this wanting them to like us, hoping that they like us, really needing them to like us, this needy energy. The ego believes that's actually beneficial, but ultimately it's a repellent, right? Neediness, desire for an outcome that you want, pushes the outcome away. And neediness will push people away from you. You may notice, you may know that people feel how you feel about yourself. Your energy about yourself will be felt by those around you. So if you have this feeling of, I need to make them like me, what is that energy saying? It's saying, I'm not likable. I need to try and make myself likable so then they like me. It's a false state of neediness, right? The moment you can catch yourself doing it in a moment and realize it's not helping you, it's not doing anything, actually it's pushing them away, you can realize neediness is actually the least beneficial thing that you'd want to be experiencing, and that you can then offer a different perspective, which is, some people call it letting go. I call it letting things be. Allowing everything to be as it is. Being comfortable with not being needy. Being comfortable with who you are. Being comfortable with where you are. Being comfortable with how things are in the present moment. And allowing everything to be internally, externally. And just watching yourself if you notice yourself carrying out any of those behaviors. Neediness. Or a resistance to whatever's presenting itself to you. A moment that you can begin catching yourself doing it through mindful attention and then seeing what it's doing to you, you can then begin to offer one of these higher states of being, which is acceptance, surrender, just being, becoming comfortable with where you are. I believe 90% of all of this is just your presence. And seeing what you're doing to yourself, or seeing what the unconscious mind is doing to itself. The moment you can begin continuously catching the egoic mind, complaining, resisting, denying, wanting to be somewhere else, and you can catch that as it happens, that's an awareness, that's a mindful attention, that's presence. It can feel what your body is doing to itself. It's an unconscious learnt pattern that's arisen that believes it will achieve what it wants to achieve. I hope I'm making sense. So all you need to do, whether it's around people, whether it's around money, whether it's around wanting a better job, whether it's around wanting a nicer house, whether it's around wanting a nicer car, all of these things come from not needing them. And so how do you do that? I know that's easier said than done sometimes. You do it simply by realizing that the energy of neediness doesn't bring them what you want. You hear how simple that is? You realize that neediness and desire for doesn't bring you what you want. It actually makes things worse and it pushes things away. Desire pushes away. It's a repellent. Acceptance and surrender for where you are is a magnet. It attracts things to you because it's the higher energy, and those things materialize more into your life when you're of this higher state. And all you need to do, your only practice, is mindful attention to your present moment as these things arise. Go into your body now and just ask yourself, what am I feeling? Is there desire? Am I uncomfortable with where I am? Am I being a bit ungrateful for where I am? Am I wanting to be somewhere else which doesn't exist right now? I often say suffering is, there's the present moment in front of you, and then there's an image in your mind of how you want things to be. right? There's the present moment of how things are, and there's an image in your mind of how you want things to be, which we often call future, which is an illusion. There's no future, there's just thoughts in your mind. You can't get to the future. It doesn't exist. There's only the present moment, and everything will be experienced in the present moment. So I often say the greater the distance between the image in your mind of how you want things to be and how things are, the greater that distance, the more you suffer. The more that screen of where you want to be is blocking your view, you're suffering more deeply because you're in these lower states and you don't want to be where you are. Even if things perhaps are not good, even if perhaps things are not what you want them to be, even if things perhaps are really difficult and perhaps even justified in your resistance, I would suggest to just observe that resistance towards what you're experiencing doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything. The resistance pattern comes in from us when we're babies. When we're babies, when we feel hungry, what happens is we cannot communicate to people that we're hungry, so we fill our bodies with intense resistance to that experience, that feeling. We're hungry, we don't want to be, so we fill our body with intense resistance, and we cry, and we scream, and we suffer, and eventually a mum comes and feeds us. And we learn, the resistance pattern worked. And then we do it again. We're feeling uncomfortable, we're feeling uneasy, we want to be held as babies. So we resist, we cry, we scream, we fill our bodies with suffering, and eventually our mum comes and looks after us. That's fine as babies, of course. The issue is most humans don't ever get out of that state. They don't ever drop that resistance pattern, and they believe that by resisting their experience in some way, we believe as humans, we believe someone's going to come and save us in the same way that used to happen when we were young. And you have to feel the truth to that within yourself. Really and truthfully be honest with yourself that there's a belief in you that resistance and almost internally crying, not literally, but like an internal crying, an internal screaming, an internal resistance, an internal suffering. This little inner child in you believes that resistance is going to do something. Someone's going to come and help me. The universe is going to come and help me. The universe is going to come and change the situation for me. You have to see that that's not the truth. It doesn't do anything. The inner fighting, the inner resistance, the inner denial of the present moment doesn't manipulate the world in a way. It actually keeps you bound in more suffering and attracts more things that resonate with that energy. And in that seeing, the healing then happens. Because the moment you can catch yourself resisting and realizing that's not doing anything, it's actually making things worse, that seeing will bring in the surrendered state naturally, which is the acceptance of what you're experiencing fully and completely. Accepting where you are, accepting what presents itself to you, not questioning, not judging, just letting it be. Seeing that things are as they are right now and you can't do anything about that, so you might as well just let it all be in the present moment. I'm not talking about any stories in your mind. I'm not talking about 10 minutes time. I'm not talking about your job, your finances, outside of anything than this moment that you're experiencing right now, which perhaps is the four walls around you, or the nature around you if you're walking, the sky overhead, the bird in the distance, my voice as I'm speaking, the feel of the chair or bed underneath you, the feel of the phone or device in your hands. This is your present moment. The very present moment, the here and now. You accept that. You see the futility of resisting that. You see the futility of trying to get away from that. And in that seeing, the acceptance happens naturally, because you would never choose to fill your body with suffering. You would never consciously choose suffering. So the moment you can make these patterns conscious, the moment you can see what the unconscious mind is doing to you, the egoic mind, which is completely reversed. The egoic mind is completely reversed in its beliefs. It believes suffering, pain, resistance, denial, anger, grievances, bargaining, desires. It believes that all of these things are beneficial, and that's why it does them. That's why the ego does those things. The moment you can see the insanity of ego, that fighting makes things worse, resisting makes things worse, denying makes things worse, desire for makes things worse and robs you from your peace now, the more you can begin to relax into being. Relaxing into being means relaxing into this moment fully and becoming aware of being, aware of your own beingness. What is being? I can't answer that for you through words, but I can point you to feeling it in yourself. Being is the I am that you are. Or as you would say, the I am that I am. The I am that is not the body. The I am that's not the mind. The I am that's not the stories in your mind. It's not the thoughts. It's not your name. It's not the job that you do. It's not the roles that you carry out. The I am transcends all of these things. It's the higher consciousness, the subject, observing the forms of this world, including the thought forms of your mind. It's a higher alertness, presence, and awareness, formless awareness, that is not the body you believe yourself to be. It's inhabiting the body, and the body is inside of being. Being is within everything, and everything is within being. Being is the one life expressing itself, the one consciousness expressing itself in trillions of different life forms on this planet alone, let alone what's out there. Being is the one consciousness connecting, the connecting source of all that is. And that being is not separate from who you are. It is who you are in your essence. You are consciousness. You are the subject, observing the objects of this world, including the thoughts of your mind. Knowing that, feeling yourself as that, that's being.